Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of November 25, Monday. I'm Riza Diaz. Starting off today's rush with big news from Malacanang regarding Vice President Leni Robredo's stint in the ICAD, which apparently has now ended. Maricel Halili is joining us live from South Korea to give us the details. Maricel, good morning.
Riza, just almost a month after her appointment, President Rodrigo Duterte has fired Vice President Leni Robredo as the co-chairperson of Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs, or ICAD. The reason? He just responded to the dare of the opposition to kick her out of the office.
The Palace wishes to announce the termination of Vice President Leni Robredo as co-chair of ICAD.
Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo made this announcement a few hours before President Duterte arrived in Busan to attend the Asean Republic of Korea Summit. Panelo said the president is just responding to the taunt and dare of Liberal Party President Senator Francis Pangilinan and the Vice President herself. Pangilinan earlier dared the president to just fire Robredo if he doesn't trust her, while the vice president said in an interview that the president just have to tell her if she wants her out, which the president finds rude and disrespectful. The vice president's meeting with the United Nations and U.S. officials added to the heat.
The president is calling the dare. If she was bluffing, well, the president just called the bluff.
This decision came just hours after President Duterte said in an interview that he is apologizing to the vice president for believing in fake news. But this too was denied by Malacanang.
In fact, I asked him about that. He said, and I told him, oh, but there's scroller there and there's transcript saying, and you said that you're apologizing to her. His statement was, and I quote him, if it was indeed an apology, he said, I'm not only apologizing, I'm firing her. And I said, when? Now?
In a Facebook post, Pangilinan said that Malacanang's scheme to make Robredo look weak backfired. Instead, she has shown courage and competence. He said this is just a desperate attempt to look for someone to blame for the mess they have created. This does not sit well with Malacanang. Malacanang also denied that this is just a diversionary tactic to cover up all the shortcomings in the government's preparation for the Southeast Asian Games. Riza, President Duterte arrived here in Busan around 1:30 in the morning, Korean time, to attend the Asean Rok Summit. His first agenda for today is to meet the top companies of South Korea before meeting Korean President Moon Jae-in for bilateral talks. The two leaders are expected to witness the signing of at least 3 agreements, likely in the field of education, fisheries, tourism, and social services. Riza?
Thank you. That was Maricel Halili reporting live from South Korea. Meanwhile, the PNP respects President Duterte's order to relieve Robredo from her duties in the ICAD. In a statement, the PNP says it will continue a relentless war against illegal drugs and will target high-value suspects, still with utmost respect for human rights. Last week, the PNP says it's backing whatever decision PDEA will come up with in relation to Robredo's request for government's narco list, although it insists that the vice president should just focus on rehabilitation part of the anti-drug campaign. However, opposition Senator Rizzo Ontiveros sees Duterte's move as evidence that the prior invitation for Robredo to work for the drug war is, quote, an insincere sham. Ontiveros says it only shows unwillingness on the part of the executive to try new approaches in the war against drugs. The Akbayan senator also noted the irony in Robredo being the first one to be fired amid all anomalies surrounding the hosting of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. For former senatorial bet and human rights lawyer Chel Diokno, Robredo had a clear goal in mind on how to solve the drug problem in the country. But he says it seems that the government does not want to solve it after all with their decision to fire her. Robredo's daughter, Trisha, also posted her take on the news that when her mom posted a challenge against incumbent anti-drug officials with a quote, "Kayo, handa ba kayo sa akin?" Now, clearly, her challengers weren't. As the Southeast Asian Games kicks off this week, several ASEAN athletes have started to arrive. Their landing in the Philippine soil, though, wasn't quite as smooth as expected. The ASEAN Football News reports that the Timor-Leste football team had to wait for more than 2 hours at the airport for their assigned transportation service. And when it did finally arrive, the team was then brought to the wrong hotel. The Thailand delegation was also met with some problems in logistics. Travel time from airport to the hotel took 2 hours. Getting to the football field, another 2 hours, and as a result, the team lost time for practice. The players also complained about the limited allocation for food and drinking water in their hotel. The team from Myanmar, meanwhile, complained of a rather crowded service. It looked like a minibus, they described. The team also missed time for practice due to the long waiting time at the airport. On the other hand, the Cambodian team had to wait for nearly 12 hours to get to their hotel. And upon arriving, some players had to even sleep on chairs and on the floor. Now, the ASEAN Football News also revealed that the food served was hard to consume for the foreign team. They had to cancel practice and just settle for running around the hotel instead. However, our own team was not spared from the trouble. Halilong of the women's football team shared that they had to wait past 2 p.m. for the rooms to be ready. She expressed her disappointment that even as the host team, this was how they're being treated. The Philippine SEA Games Organizing Committee, or FISGOC, has already apologized to Timor-Leste, Myanmar, and Cambodia for the supposed confusion on their transportation and accommodations. They also acknowledge their shortcomings and vow to do a better job. FISGOC also admitted that the Timor-Leste team was brought to the wrong hotel. The organizers were able to remedy the situation after booking another shuttle to bring the foreign delegation to their correct hotel. But the committee also clarified that they did not expect the Cambodian team would be arriving in the Philippines ahead of time. And since their rooms were not yet ready, FISGOC had to request for them to temporarily stay in a conference room while waiting. Malacanang has also spoken up about the recent issue, and instead of making any excuses, presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo simply apologized for the quote, unintentional inconvenience suffered by the athlete guest. But he did say that such delays in transportation and accommodations during international sporting events are still to be expected. Now, with several SEA Games competition lineup for today, let's get the latest on the weather straight from Pag-asa. To give us the details, we have with us on the line weather forecaster Benny Estrella. Benny, good morning. We would like to know how's the weather looking like today.
Yes, good morning, Riza, and to all the viewers. We have northeast monsoon or amihan affecting northern Luzon. This will bring partly cloudy to cloudy skies over Ilocos region, Cordillera, and Cagayan Valley with some isolated light rains. Over at Bicol region, Aurora, and Quezon provinces, easterlies will be the prevailing weather system. That's why expect cloudy skies with some scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. While over here in Metro Manila and the rest of the country, expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some localized thunderstorms, almost the same as yesterday, and it's mostly happening in the afternoon or evening.
Benny, on specific locations where the games will actually be held, like in Clark City and perhaps in Tagaytay, how is the weather looking?
As of now, we're seeing some fair weather conditions over those areas in Pampanga, Tarlac, as well as Cavite. And then some cloudiness may form in the afternoon and eventually some localized thunderstorms, but it's only lasting for around 1 to 2 hours.
Based on your satellite, do we see other weather disturbances?
Yes, we're seeing a low-pressure area that it's quite far away from our area of responsibility. It's around 4,000 kilometers away from Mindanao, and it may enter as a tropical cyclone later this week.
There will be games too in the Visayas area. What is the weather looking like, or how is the weather looking like in Visayas and Mindanao, Benny?
Right now, we're seeing some partly cloudy skies over Visayas and fair weather over Metro Cebu. And like over here in Metro Manila, we are expecting some brief showers in the afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much. That was Pag-asa weather forecaster Benny Estereja. Amid the controversies and mishaps surrounding our hosting, the Philippine Polo team became the first to see action at the 30th Southeast Asian Games. But sadly, they did not get off to a good start. Ryan Ang has the story. Less than a week before the opening ceremony of the 30th Southeast Asian Games, 4 countries already saw action at the polo competition in Calatagan, Batangas. In the opening match, the Philippine national team squared off with the 2017 SEA Games bronze medalist Brunei. The two teams traded scores throughout the game. However, Prince Bahar sealed the victory for Brunei after nailing the penalty shot.
Obviously, it's extremely disappointing to lose on home soil. I think our defensive lapses, if we can eliminate them coming into the next games, then we should be okay.
Brunei's polo team is composed of royalties including Princess Azima, Prince Bahar, and Prince Mateen.
Very tough team. Individually, they're really good players. Played with a lot of them before, but I think they've only just come together recently, so I think that's what made the difference today.
I think they're doing really, really well. They were really, really tough to beat. And I think they'll go pretty far. It's their first game. It's our first game. So, they did really well.
For Princess Azima, polo is not just for men.
There's a lot of female players now who are probably, if not as good as the guys. And most women are female players are really good riders.
And despite issues surrounding the SEA Games, Princess Azima praised the venue of the polo events.
We were confident in our turns with the horses. No, it was great. Great field. It was such a pleasure to play on them.
The Philippines will play against Malaysia in the second round of the eliminations match on Tuesday.
Powered by Smart.
Meanwhile, our women's volleyball team just went through a team-building session over the weekend to work on their chemistry inside the court. Volleyball star Alyssa Valdez, who is on her third SEA Games stint, is hoping that they will gel well to end the 14-year medal drought of the Philippines for volleyball. And Majoy Baron, who was hailed the best middle blocker in the ASEAN Grand Prix, could not contain her excitement for the upcoming battles, which will start next month.
I think we're very ready for this upcoming SEA Games. Super excited kasi it's my first SEA Games and dito pa gagawin sa Philippines, so very excited talaga yung team namin.
And here are the stories to watch out for later today. Vice President Leni Robredo is scheduled to meet officials of the health department in the Bicol region to discuss rehabilitation efforts for drug dependents. Also in her calendar this afternoon is the community-based drug recovery program facilitators workshop in Camarines Sur. But now that she just got booed as ICAD co-chairperson, will Robredo still attend these events? Workers groups will face a wage hike petition before the Regional Wage Board in Manila. And more athletes are set to arrive today for the 30th Southeast Asian Games. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.